day is finally here. We're going over YouTube Analytics, the ins and outs of everything you need to know to become an expert at YouTube Analytics. So if you're not familiar with the YouTube Analytics tool, this is the video that's going to show you how to do pretty much everything. If you're not even sure how to access your analytics, I have a specific video for that. That's a little too noobish for this video, okay? Today we're going to go in depth. We're going to be looking at click-through rates. We're going to be creating analytics groups. We're going to be doing comparisons, CTR, impressions, pretty much everything. So this is going to be a long video. I'm going to try and divide it up into sections, and we're really going to break this down. Without further ado, let me hop into a screen share and show you everything you need to know about your YouTube analytics. Okay, so first off, we're in YouTube Studio. If you don't know how to get to YouTube Studio, I have a video specifically for that. Please go watch that video. I'll link it. But right now, we're just going to go straight to our analytics, right? It's on the left tab here. We're going to go to See More. And then we get this massive, overwhelming page, right? Things to look for. What are the important things on this page? You can scroll down and you can see a list of your videos and how many views they have and what their click-through rates are, impressions, subscribers, all that. If you want to add another column to this, you can hit this little plus button. There's a ton of different things that you can click on here. If you want my opinion on the stats that actually matter, I don't even care about watch time. What do I care about? I care about subscribers, I care about impressions and click-through rate, and I care about views. And obviously I care about revenue. This channel is so small it doesn't have revenue yet. When I start actually making revenue on this channel, I'll have a separate video for all of the revenue stats. Sorry, money nerds. If you are a bigger channel than me and you're getting revenue data, I'd love to do a video with you, so please let me know. But today we're just going to be looking at views, subscribers, click-through rates, kind of the basic traffic stuff. So if you need to add something in this column, like say I just removed watch time, right? So I clicked the hide metric button, I just removed watch time, so I'm gonna put that back in. Say I was curious to see what the average view duration of my video was. It's about 31 seconds. Why is that? Well, because there's a lot of short form content in here. So if I wanted to look at my long form content, I bet I would have a higher view duration. So we're going to get back to that in a minute. So that's how you add columns to your data. And guess what? You can actually hit this little export button up here and download as a Google Sheet or as a CSV. And whatever columns you created, so whatever columns you created here, are going to end up in your spreadsheet. The information you will always get is the video title, your video ID, as well as, publish time and all that other any information that you added as a column here. What is a video ID? It's a unique code that is unique to any video. So if you change your video titles often, which you should for A/B testing, I'm going to do a video on A/B testing later, you can copy this code. Here, I'll just open a random video on YouTube. Do you see this URL, youtube.com/watch? I'm going to punch in this video ID I just copied, copy paste, boom. Hey everybody. So now we're on the video that I picked from my spreadsheet. We used that video ID to find the URL, and because I'm logged into my channel, I can actually hit analytics here and go and look at the YouTube analytics. So there you go. That's kind of the basics of how to export, how to deal with the columns at the bottom of YouTube analytics, this whole chart section. Now let's go to the graph section. Right now, I am filtered by views. Fun fact, if you add a column here, the graph up top is going to automatically change. So if you want to change it back, you can just open this up, and here's some quick grabs, right? Views, subscribers, impressions, all of kind of the important stuff. Or you can go to more metrics, which I know is pretty overwhelming. Some stats that I regularly check are views, subscribers, videos published. Videos added can include playlists and videos that you yourself have not published, so I don't recommend using videos added pretty much ever. I would focus on using videos published. And so you can see here's a graph showing the videos that I've published over time, right? This is a very new channel. It's only been up for like 2 weeks. So more metrics, watch time, views. The important stats, views, videos published. Here's something that I do. You can actually put in multiple metrics. So something that I do quite frequently is I'll do views, and I will lay that against, so I'll click the next drop down here, and I'll go to more metrics, and then I'll go to videos published. And so now we have a really nice graph comparing views against videos published. Now, this is set up as daily right now, so you can see this is every day. April 12th, April 13th, April 14th, and so on and so forth. You can change this to be weekly, so you can do it by week, and now you can see it's by week. You can also change it to by month, and that's how to change the graph around. So this is a great way to compare two stats against each other, just to kind of lay them over each other, and you can export this as well. You can also export this, and there you go. Like I said, this is a list. All the columns that we have at the bottom show up on this tab, and you can see all the columns in the actual document. You can go to the chart data. Excuse me, not the chart data. You can go to the totals. And so the totals here are whatever you arranged your graph to be up here. So if I change this to weekly, I would then get weekly dates for all of this information. Currently, I'm on daily, so I have daily information, and that's what showed up in the totals tab on the Excel spreadsheet that I downloaded. Great. So now we've gone over the graph, how to play with stats, some of the important stats that you need, right? So views, subscribers, click-through rate is really important, impressions, click-through rate, videos published, that's all very important, videos published by content. Something that I always think is interesting is subscribers lost, like how many subscribers did I lose on a given video? Obviously, my channel's pretty small, so I don't have subscribers to lose right now. And then uniques is not that important. I mean, yes, you can look at uniques because viewers will sometimes watch a video more than once. You can get uniques. Average views per viewer. So this shows you the number of times a given person watched your video. You can see, wow, this video is really engaging. People would come back and watch this video more than once. Here's another one that people would come back. They would watch this video more than once. And you will see that. Depending on what video you have, people actually do tend to come back. Especially if your videos are long, they will come back. You'll see your average views per viewer is a little higher. Most of these stats really don't matter. I really want you to stay focused on views, videos published, subscribers, and click-through rate. Those are the important ones. We'll get into revenue later. Obviously, revenue is important, but I don't have revenue data right now. All right. So that's kind of the basics of this screen. Now, I know Shorts is a big feature, and everybody's wondering about Shorts. Shorts is very new in the algorithm. It just came out this year. So you can go back to the main Analytics tab. That's where we are. We left Analytics, so now we're back on the main tab. And you can go to Content. And so here's all our content. And you can actually filter under this Content tab by videos or by Shorts. And if you want to go back to that See More screen, you actually don't click here. This just shows you overall how your shorts are doing, which I don't personally find helpful. I want to look at the shorts, like the specific videos of mine that are doing well. So you will scroll down, after going to Content under Analytics. You'll scroll down, you'll go to Top Shorts, and then you'll hit See More. And there you go. Now you have all your shorts in a convenient location, and you can look at all of that data. By the way, this is kind of a fun little tool. So if I was to type in videos, now I'm just getting all my videos, right? So you can go up to this little drop down over here, and you can type in shorts. There you go. Now you're getting shorts. So this is a filter. It filters out specific kinds of data that you want to see. Again, there's an overwhelming amount of information here. Something that you will do commonly is you'll want to filter by publish date. So you can actually filter by a certain date range. Say I only want to look at videos that were published on April 1st, then I can filter by that date range. Say I only want to look at videos that were published on between April 11th and April 13th, so let's do that. You can do that here. Boom, and now I'm filtered by a certain date range, what I published in that date range. Another thing that you might end up doing is looking at your traffic sources. Like if you want to see how well your channel is doing in search versus browse, you can go to your traffic sources here. Traffic sources shows you just about everything from the shorts to, ads you may have run. And then you can see the shorts feed here. You can see I'm getting a ton of views from YouTube Shorts, which is awesome. What are browse features? Browse features is literally people opening the app and scrolling. That's it. This is pure algorithm. So this is YouTube literally just showing people stuff. Like Think about when you open YouTube on your phone or on your computer, you'll literally just open it and you'll probably click on a video. You won't even search anything, right? Now, there are a lot of people who actually go on and they're actively searching stuff. Well, there you go. There's YouTube search right there, which is pretty self-explanatory. Suggested, that's after you watch a video, there's a suggestion bar that comes up. So after you click on a video, there's like a whole different screen that you move to, and you get suggested videos. I'll show you what that looks like. So I have vidIQ, which your screen may not look like this. That's okay. It's because I have this vidIQ app. But if you actually scroll down on this watch page, you'll see this is suggested. So these are suggested views. If I were to click on this, any one of these, I would get a suggested view. External means a website. So, when I was working for cnet.com, we would embed some of our videos on cnet.com, and that would show up as external views. You can also get views on Google. So if people search your specific video on Google, it will frequently show up under the external traffic source. And you can actually do a breakdown under external and see where you're indexing, right? Google search. See, that's exactly what I was talking about. Traffic sources is a great way to see how well you're doing, and you can really go crazy on this. I actually don't recommend doing this because it's way too much information. You can look at how well your click-through rates are doing on browse versus search. So if you are a how-to channel, and you do DIY videos on how to build stuff, well, you might have a higher click-through rate on search. Browse is people just looking for entertainment. They're scrolling, they're clicking on random stuff that the algorithm is recommending, and they're finding percentages. Channel pages is really high for me right now because my channel's really small. Normally, your channel pages won't be that high. That's when your profile is featured on the front page of someone else's YouTube channel, and they click and they go watch your content. Traffic sources is really helpful because it tells you where you're indexing and how well you're indexing. So it's worth remembering traffic sources. So that, I believe, is a good overview of just the basics for this analytics screen. Now let's start to look at individual videos. How do you actually look at the analytics on individual videos? Well, you can always go to your content, right? You can always go to your content, hover over and click on analytics on anything that shows up in this drop-down list. But a much better way, and a way you'll probably use a lot more, is by going to the content tab, hovering over the video that you want to look at, and then clicking on the analytics button and actually looking at the analytics there, right? So you can see this video only has 10 views. My channel's brand new, so it's not going to have a ton of views. Most of the time, you aren't even going to look at this tab. It's like, yeah, I want to know the views and the watch time, but that's not really interesting information. You want the reach tab. The reach tab gives you the impressions, the number of times a thumbnail was shown to people and whether or not they clicked on it. So you can see people did not like this thumbnail. This is a terrible thumbnail and title. Maybe the topic was bad. I've mentioned this in many other videos before, but what controls click-through rate? This is one of the main secrets of YouTube, so pay attention. What controls click-through rate? It's title, thumbnail, topic, first 8 seconds. I'll say that again. Title, thumbnail, topic, first 8 seconds. Now, this is where guesswork comes in. This is not an exact science. How do I know if my intro sucked, if my title sucked, if my thumbnail sucked? What was wrong? What could I do better here? Honestly, the best thing and really the only thing you can do is A/B test. What is A/B testing? It means changing your thumbnail. So I could actually make a new thumbnail or write a new title. I can go back to details and I can change my thumbnail. I can upload a new thumbnail, right? So this week, I'm going to run this terrible thumbnail that's not getting a ton of views. I'm going to run my thumbnail. You know what I mean? We're going to let this run for a week. We're going to see how it does. Maybe it does better. Maybe it does worse. But I'm going to let this thing run for a week. I'm going to come back and check. And if my click-through rate is still bad a week later, I'll actually go in, I'll change my thumbnail, I'll write something down in my notes somewhere, and then I'll come back another week later and I'll see if the click-through rate did better. And that's called A/B testing, when you flip your thumbnail or you change your title. I recommend doing one thing at a time. So I would only change your thumbnail and test that for a week. And if it does better, awesome. And then I would only change your title and test that for a week and see if it does better. Awesome. If you change 2 variables at once, it's going to be harder to know what was wrong. Now, I flip stuff around all the time, so don't feel too bad about it. But A/B testing is a total hack. It's a great way to try and drive up your views and drive up click-through rates, and I am a wizard at it. So even though this thumbnail did terribly, and I know it did terribly because, again, this is not an exact science. It's really hard to predict what can do well and what doesn't. We have data. That's the power of data. The power of data is going, oh, people didn't like this for some reason. I'm going to change it, and I'm going to come back in a week and see if it did better. That's the power. Does every video anyone publishes do well? No. A lot of videos just do terribly, and you can't always predict that. So don't go crazy. Test. Get even. Test. The reach tab is critically important. I spend the vast majority of my time here looking at impressions and click-through rates. Impressions, again, the number of times a thumbnail was shown to somebody, this tells you whether or not the algorithm likes you. If the algorithm likes you, you'll get a lot of impressions. So the algorithm really liked this video. The algorithm was like, you guys got to see this. You guys got to click on this. But people, real people, saw it and they didn't like it. You can see 0.7% click-through rate. So even though the algorithm really liked this video, people, actual real-world people did not, right? The click-through rate was low. What can help with your impressions? Topic. So if you pick a really popular topic, like you do a video about Elon Musk, who's really, really popular, there are a ton of other videos on YouTube about Elon Musk, and there's a ton of articles on Google about Elon Musk. So the algorithm factors all of that information in. So I very deliberately made a video about unbox therapy because he has like 10 million subscribers, and I knew that the algorithm would pick this up. Now, I didn't know that my thumbnail sucked, or maybe my intro sucked, right? So what I ended up doing was I went back and I watched my intro, and I realized I didn't follow my own rule. I didn't follow the 8-second rule. Way too much preamble. So we're going to watch my video, and I'll show you what I mean by a bad intro. We're going to start to review some YouTube channels. We're going to review unbox therapy. So the script is good. Actually pick them apart and apply some of the rules that we've learned. So if you don't know what the rules are, I really recommend going back and watching. Where's unbox therapy? I'm 15 seconds in and I don't see unbox therapy. Your thumbnail had unbox therapy in it, Trevor. Your title says unbox therapy. YouTube channel review. My overview video. We're 30 seconds in and I still don't see unbox therapy. So it's my intro. So while this isn't an exact science, I actually really like my thumbnail and I really like my title. And I'm willing to bet the intro of my video just wasn't that great. Is there anything I can do about that? Actually, no. This is one of the hardest parts of YouTube. If you just make a bad video or your intro is too long and you don't get to the subject fast enough, I mean, there's the YouTube editor. You can click on the YouTube editor and you can trim out parts of your video, but usually it's too little too late. It's not going to be enough to have an impact. So you can see, people loved this topic. It has an 18% click-through rate. The algorithm didn't. The algorithm doesn't like this topic. I didn't get that many impressions. Newer channels, you're not going to get that many impressions. But as you become a bigger and bigger channel and you get more subscribers, you'll get more impressions. So it's important to go out into the real world, find people, try and get them to subscribe to your channel. And as you get more subscribers, you will inherently get more impressions. The bulk of impressions go to people who already have a ton of subscribers. So acquiring subscribers gets you more impressions inherently, which means more people are going to watch your content. So yeah, those are the basics, and then you can actually see more. So if you want to look at your individual video in depth beyond just click-through rates, and you want to actually do a full breakdown at the video level, well, here, I'll go back to make this really clear. You go to Content, you hover over Analytics, you open the Analytics tab, right? We're in the Analytics for this brand new video I just published today. You go to See More, and then you can get a full breakdown. You get an exportable graph. You can look at traffic sources, right? So you can see this is browse features. Let's look at a video that has more views. This one has 35 views. Let's look at this. I actually don't like that thumbnail. I might change it. So you go to See More. You go to traffic sources. And then you can see, oh, look, I mainly did well on browse. Isn't that interesting? And by the way, people who are just browsing YouTube for entertainment, your click-through rate tends to be a lot lower because competition's a lot higher. I'm not indexing in search at all, which is very interesting. That might just be because my channel is really new. It might be because I need to change my title. I have seen some data to show that descriptions can have an impact. I really don't think they do. I think my channel's just new, so it's not indexing in search yet. New channels, it's much tougher to get impressions. It's much tougher to show up in search, all that good stuff. The next part that we're going to do is groups, how to do analytics groups. So what is a group? All it is a grouping of videos. You have like 4 different television shows on your YouTube channel, which is something that brands do a lot. You can make an analytics group for that. So how do we do that? You go to Analytics, you go to See More, then you click this magnifying glass thing here. You go to Groups, and then you create a group. If it's a recent video, it will show up here, and I can click these little check boxes and create a group, right? So here's a group of my last 3 videos. Let's call it my last 3 videos. And then I can create the group. Now, another way you can do this, if it's not a recent video, if it's an old video, you can add the videos by ID. A video ID shows up after you export. So you can export this data. Remember this, all the columns. You can hit the download button, export all of this data in these columns into a Google Sheet. You can grab all of these video IDs. So you hover over, you highlight all of these, right? I'm literally just clicking and dragging. Then Control-C, copy, and paste. So you're going to go to Groups, Create New Group, Add Videos by ID, Control-V, paste. Or if you're on Mac, Command-C, Command-V, whatever it is. And you can see my new group. Add videos. See how quickly all of those videos popped in? So that's a really quick way of making big groups fast. Now, YouTube does have a limit. You can only put in 500 videos into an analytics group. So there are big data solutions. I'm not going to go into those in this video. Chances are you really don't have more than 500 videos that you need to put in a group. I know that's a key limitation. It's a huge challenge, but this is a great way to create groups quickly. So now, here's where things get really fun. You can compare your groups. So I'm actually going to compare all of my long form content against all of my shorts content to see what's doing better. After we open up the analytics screen, you go to the magnifying glass, you'll see this all thing pop up. You want to go over to groups. You can actually search for a specific group. So if you have a lot of analytics groups, which I will eventually, this is just a new channel, but I've worked with YouTube channels that have like 200 groups. It's crazy. It's overwhelming. But you can click on the group, and you can see I have all my long form content. Now this is just the content I put in this group. And then you can go over and hit compare to compare groups. And then once again, you go over to groups and you can compare against shorts, right? Which is another group I made. And then you can see you can alter the date ranges. So this is where you need to be careful because if your date ranges don't line up, you might be comparing your data wrong. So that's really important to keep in mind is you want to make sure your date ranges are roughly the same. For the most part, I'm sure there are edge cases where you would want the date ranges to be different. But now we can actually see, what's getting more views. And you can see Shorts is getting way more views. It's getting like 3x more views. And why is that? Well, because it's short form content. People are more likely to actually go and watch the content. Shorter content tends to get more views. Longer content tends to get more watch time. Also, long form content monetizes better. Short form content doesn't monetize as well. So if you want to make real money on YouTube, you got to have some amount of long form content. If I don't want to look at views, say I want to compare the subscribers, how many subscribers I'm getting for my long form versus shorts, or at least between these two groups, I can actually hit this little drop down here, and I can now pick whatever stat I want to look at. Now here's where it gets frustrating. You can only look at one stat at a time when you're doing a comparison. You can't compare multiple stats. So if you want to stack or compare a ton of different stats back to back to back, you go and you export, and then you play with it in Google Sheets, right? You export this, you change the stat, you export that, and then you stack it, right? And so you can copy paste all that data from all of these spreadsheets into one giant spreadsheet and really get into things, right? And start to visualize your own stuff. That's all for another day. We'll get there, hopefully. Let's look at traffic sources as a comparison. Isn't this cool? I freaking love this thing. So if you compare as a bar chart, you can actually turn this in. I don't know why you would turn it into a line chart, because now I can only do one stat again. But you can turn this into a bar chart. and now I'm getting a count of how many views I'm getting based on an individual traffic source. So you can see right now I'm getting a lot of views via channel pages, via my front page. That's because I put ads on my trailer, right? But you can see browse features is usually where you're going to end up getting the most views. Unless you're like a how-to channel, then search is probably where you're going to be getting the most views. And you can see views. I'm getting the most views in browse, at least for my long-form content. I see. So because my long-form content doesn't show up in the shorts feed, you can't see the shorts feed. So I can't compare those two things. I have to compare by the traffic sources. So I'm getting most of my views in the shorts feed. That's why you're not seeing it come up here, because there's nothing to compare against. And then you can go even crazier. You can filter by, so you can go, let's go back to content, keep things simple. And now you can filter by publish date. So you can look at videos that were published in a specific range. So I only want to look at videos that were in this group that were published in January. So you can really get into this and filter by publish dates, and there's a ton of different applications and reasons why you would do this. Here's another fun fact about comparisons, is you can now, I want to compare my long form content against my channel, and this is something I actually do on occasion. You want to do period over period. You want to compare this group against a channel. You're going to click on all, you're going to go to your channel. So I'm now comparing my long form against my entire channel. These dates don't line up, so I'm going to make sure the dates line up, because you always want to make sure your dates line up. So now this is a fair comparison because the dates line up, which is what we want. Now I'm comparing long form against my entire channel. Why would I do that? Well, it's a great way to look at your click-through rate. So here, isn't this interesting? My channel click-through rate is better than my long form click-through rate, which means there's stuff that I could be doing to improve this kind of content and get a higher click-through rate on my long form content. So when you're comparing against a group to a channel, it's because your channel has an average that's really strong, and you want to compare your channel average against a specific group of content to see how you're doing as a whole, right? There's a ton of different reasons that you would do this. Now you're just looking at your group, right? Now we're just looking at our group. The final piece that's really important to look at is subscription status. So subscribed versus not subscribed. This is a really great tab to be on, because it tells you how many of your views came from subscribers versus how many of your views did not come from subscribers. To all of my subscribers, all 50 of you that have been watching my content, I can tell because look, there's close to 50 of you here. Thank you for supporting me, gang. I love that. So if you're a subscriber and you're watching this right now, I see you in my data and I appreciate you. Most of your views do not come from subscribers, and they never will. No matter what channel you do, most of your views will not come from subscribers. They will come from non-subscribers. And so again, you can choose what analytics group you want. I am more interested to look at the channel level, not just long form. Isn't this interesting? So most of my shorts views, right, because most of my views come from shorts, most of my shorts views come from non-subscribers. How do I know that? Well, I can do a shorts group, right, which I've already made. Or I can do a filter. I showed you that filter earlier. It's pretty handy. Shorts. See, there you go. And then shorts pops up. I can filter by shorts. Boom, boom, boom. I think I forgot to show you guys something, so I'm going to go back to that real quick. It was content types when you want to compare your shorts against your long form, or just look at short form data. Again, you go from the overview, you go to content, you click on shorts or videos, videos meaning long form videos. I'm on shorts right now. I scroll down, I click see more, it gives me my shorts. I can also do the same thing for videos. I can go over to videos, I can scroll down, and then you can see more there. And then, yeah, there's tons of other filters here. So you can see I have traffic sources here, which is awesome. And I can see, ooh, that's a good one. Let's go look at that. Let's go back to the overview, click see more, click traffic sources. Now, I'm not indexing on search right now, or I am. Ooh, I am. Okay, I have 50 views on search. So here's a fun thing you can do. Drill down. Click on, so after you go to traffic sources, you can drill down and click on, say, search. and you can see what keywords you're ranking for. I have no friggin' clue why I'm ranking for airsoft. Somebody searched airsoft, was recommended my video, and clicked on it, apparently, which is hilarious to me. I don't do any airsoft content. I would be really disappointed if I was an airsoft person and I saw that. But after you go to traffic sources, you can drill down, and so I can actually see, well, where is my suggested traffic coming from? And I can see where my, like, these were videos where I popped up in the suggested list and someone watched me. Let's see here. We have browse features. Browse features is not an interesting traffic source to drop down into because it all comes from home. The vast majority of browse-based views come from home. And again, what is browse? It's people scrolling through the app. They're just randomly seeing stuff and clicking on it. There's no thought process behind browse. So you'll tend to see your click-through rates on browse be lower. Should you worry about traffic-based click-through rate? I say no. It's a controversial opinion. It's something I argue with my colleagues about quite regularly. But I say stick to this big boy click-through rate. Stick to the reach-based click-through rate, the overview click-through rate. Ooh, this video's doing better. That's awesome. So you can see this video started out as a 1.7. Today, it's at 5.6. Now, a landmine to watch out for is this is only 7 hours worth of data. Do you see how it says? I can't hover over it because it'll go away. But do you see how it says right above 5.6? It says first 1 day, 7 hours. This is only 7 hours of data. This is not a full day. You should never, ever compare 7 hours of data against a full day. You want to compare a full day against a full day. Why is that? Because by the end of the day, in another 13 hours, this might be a 2% click-through rate. You really don't want to compare a day against a day. Ideally, you want to compare a week against a week. So make sure you're not looking at live click-through rate data. Now, this is handy because it tells me my video is actually doing better, right? My click-through rate is going up, so hopefully it stays that way. I don't know if it will, so I'm going to wait a day. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to see what the click-through rate is. I bet it will be lower. I bet it won't be 5.6. That's an important side note. I think that's just about it, gang. Like, those are all the big-time basics. Subscribed versus not subscribed. Oh, let's do that at the video level. Let's go see more. Let's go subscription status. Subscription status. Come on, give me subscription status. There you go. And you can see... Oh, no, you don't. Never mind. Why is that? Oh, because this is a brand new video. That's why. I posted this today. Let me go look at an older video. See more. You click under analytics on any given video, you go to the see more, you hit more, you go to subscription status, limited data available with the time period since published. So let's just do last 28 days. There we go. And now you can see subscribed versus not subscribed for this specific video, not just at the channel level, right? And you can look at any data, any channel level data that's available, you can look at the video level pretty much always. So you can't do this on new videos. This video just published today, but if you want to see how much your audiences are enjoying your content, for my editors and for my content creators, if you're really passionate about editing and you want your edits to be amazing and you want your intros to be strong, you can go to an individual video, just like any individual video. Go to Analytics. You can scroll down and look at your retention. Now, newer videos will not have retention data, as you can see here, because this video published, I think, yesterday. So let's go to an older video, like a week-old video. I can scroll down, and I can see what the view duration is. Now, for newer channels, if you're a small channel, it's not uncommon to see radical drop-offs like that. When you have a big drop-off, by the way, what does that tell me? It tells me my intro is kind of bad. You see when I hit play, that red line moves? That red line is where you are in your content, so it's where viewers dropped off. And so you can see my intro was just not that interesting. Like maybe I had a high click-through rate, and then the people who actually came and watched the video just dropped off like a rock because the intro to my video wasn't very exciting. So this is a good takeaway for me, seeing this big drop-off. That means I could be doing more to make my intros more engaging, to hold people for a longer period of time. To only have 24% of your audience 30 seconds in is really not great. You want to be at like 45 to 50%, And you want that to last for about a minimum of 30% of your video. So if you're wondering, like, if your click-through rate is high, but you're still not getting views, or if you're just wondering how good your edit was, and particularly how good your intro was, after the first 4 days, your retention data becomes available, and it shows you where people are dropping off in your video. It's actually a pretty powerful tool. I recommend using this and playing with this, because you'll get to see where people are dropping off. And look, here's a big drop-off here at about 9 minutes in. So let's see what that is. I'm actually really curious to see what that is. This is really low. It's only like 2,000, 3,000, 6,000. I mean, that's great for you and I, but for a brand, those numbers are actually pretty tiny. Why is that? Well, because we want to post a lot of content because it's easy to post. So do keep that in mind. If you want to cheat consistency, you can. By the way, how is CNET highlights consistent? It's all... Because I'm talking too much about CNET. Everybody's like, I don't care about CNET. That makes sense. So that's a tip for me. Maybe talk less about one of the brands that I used to work with, right? People aren't that interested in hearing about CNET. So that's a good takeaway for me right there. So look, there's so much information, and I've given you so much information, so I want to recap everything we've talked about today. What are the most important stats to look at? Your reach, right? Your impressions and your click-through rate. Your impressions tells you how much the algorithm loves you. Your click-through rate tells you how much actual people want to watch your content. If your click-through rate sucks, like if it's under 2%, click-through rates that are like under 3 aren't great, but under 2% is bad. You can improve a 2% or lower click-through rate. So a 1.7% click-through rate is terrible. I need to work on this. What does that mean? It means I need to change my thumbnail, my title, right? Those are the 2 things I can control. And if I've changed my thumbnail and title a bunch and it's still not working, well then, I really need to make a new video, because you can't edit your video, you can't change your intro after you upload, and you can't change your topic after you upload. So what we're in control of is the title and the thumbnail. What we're not in control of is the topic and the intro. And so if my click-through rate is bad and I've done a ton of testing, then, you can say it was the topic or the intro. How do I know if the intro is bad? I go and I look at the retention. So the most important stuff to look at is your retention, to see if your intros are any good, your reach, to see if you're getting impressions, if the algorithm likes you, and click-through rate to see if people are enjoying clicking on your content, or if you have a strong thumbnail. Sometimes you might just have a bad topic and nobody wants to click on the topic, even if you have a great thumbnail. So don't beat yourself up if your click-through rates are low on some stuff. You can't control everything. And then finally, traffic sources. We talked about subscribed versus not subscribed views. We talked about groups and comparing groups. We talked about how to filter by dates. All of that stuff is important. None of it is as important as making sure that you have a high click-through rate and that viewers are engaging with your retention. Those are really the 2 most important things. So I hope that was interesting. I hope you learned a lot. I know this was dense. This was a tough one. So if this was overwhelming, please let me know in the comments. And what I can do is I can do a series of videos about this and break down each individual thing instead of trying to shove everything into one video, because I know this was a lot of information. So please let me know in the comments if this was too much. And if you have a question, I love questions, so please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to respond and, give you whatever information I have, because I know a ton of stuff. I know a lot about YouTube Analytics. All right. Thank you. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.